Hi, and welcome back. We're at BallinCraig, and just finished hosing down the milking shed. So we'll put the hose away, and then head back out. There's two things I actually want to show you on this map. One of them is something new that I've done on the map, and one of them is something new that I've done to actually 3 of my maps. First of all, I've gone down from 6 farms to 4 at the moment. So I've still got Arley Farm, I've got BallinCraig, I've got Belly Spring, and I've got Greenlands Farm. So I got rid of the Carrigart contractors. So I got rid of Greenwich Farm. The Greenwich was the one that had the tractor A&P show fair type thing going on. So the first thing I was going to show you that I've changed is I always keep an eye on the FS25 mods that come out, and the reason I do that is if there's a mod that comes out that I like, I go and save it in my FS25 folder, because I'm intending at some stage in the future to upgrade to FS25, but I don't know when that will be. I'm not planning on doing it anytime in the very, very near future, but I know that I will do it eventually, and when I do, I don't want to have to start from scratch looking for mods. So I keep an eye on the official website. That's the only one I really keep an eye on, and if a mod comes out there that I know I'm going to want to use on FS25, I save it into my FS25 mods folder ready. Well, I saw a video the other day, and it had a tractor on it that I really, really liked for FS25, a mod one. I know that a lot of the modded tractors are actually just ones that were ported over from earlier versions of the game. So I thought, I never saw that mod for FS22. I wonder whether it ever came out or not. You know, I suspected not, because I probably would have seen it, but I went looking, and sure enough, it had. So you'll know that I've had the FiatAgri 110 before, but a modder came out and brought this mod out, which is still a FiatAgri, but you can get it in 2-wheel drive now or 4-wheel drive. You have those 2 options, plus you can get right from the 70-90, 80-90, 90-90, 100-90 and 110-90. So there's a lot more. The other one you could only get in 110 or 130, and that was all. So there's a lot bigger selection of engine sizes you can have, and certainly on my Greenlands farm, for example, where the 110 was the small tractor on my farm, I replaced it with a 2-wheel drive 70-90 instead, which is only 70 horsepower, since that one was only used for picking up bales with the forks anyway. Now the other advantage that this little tractor has over the old one is the sunroof, the back window, and both the side windows, if you have a look there, all open. The old 110 mod that I had certainly didn't have those options. It didn't have the 2-wheel drive option, which admittedly is the main reason I changed to this tractor. This one doesn't have number plates on it, and if I hop inside for a second, it doesn't have a light on the dash to tell you if the beacons are on. It does still have the same light on the dash for if I probably need to turn the engine on to demonstrate this. So if I turn on the these lights, for example, it does have those on the dash, but it doesn't have a beacon warning light, which the other one had. And that's pretty much the only differences I've noticed. Is this one also has opening doors as well as the windows, sunroof and back window. So that's one of my changes. And then, in fact, we might even take the FiatAgri out, show you the other change that I've come across. Just make sure all those warning lights have gone out. Yep, some engines are warmed up. Oh, hang on, why is that not? My steering doesn't sit. Oh yes, sorry. I just didn't quite steer it sharp enough or something. Here we go. So yeah, we'll take this tractor out, and I will show you the other change I've made. Well, also with this one, unlike the other one, with the other one you only had an option of 1 beacon on the left hand side, and that was all. This one you could have no beacons, 1 on the left, 1 on the right, or 2 beacons. So I've just got 1 on the right. Of course in Ireland here you drive on the left hand side of the road, so I believe the beacon should be on the right hand side, so it's out towards the middle of the road. So if I go up here and pop out and open this gate. So I'll turn the beacon off now that I'm off the road again. So yeah, up at the end of this track there is a paddock, and if I go in here, okay, so up in the top corner of this paddock here I put a hay barn in here, and that's been there since pretty much forever. I did that change a long time ago, and that's because there's not a lot of places to store bales on this map. So I put this little hay barn in here, which I can store bales in. So that's been there for quite a while with the truck wreck in it as well. And because this paddock here I only ever use for mowing purposes, for baling, I don't ever put animals in this paddock. It doesn't have any troughs, so I can't. There's no need to put any kind of protection around that bale shed, so it's open-sided around all four sides, deliberately so it can get air through it, because any shed you're going to store bales in, you want to be keeping the breeze going through it to prevent a fire from starting. If a bale shed builds up too much heat from being enclosed and things, my understanding is that sometimes any kind of little spark will start a fire, so you have to keep a bale shed with a decent breeze going through it at all times, which is why that one there is open-sided on all four sides. But now this is where we get to the new part again. We'll just go back down. Oh, I'm going to put my beacons on. We'll go back down to the main gate of the farm again. This tractor seems to have a wee bit lower speed than the other FiatAgri 110 that I had, the one that only came in four-wheel drive. I don't mind, it's a small price to pay to be able to have the two-wheel drive version. And in fact, even on Bally Spring farm, and I never had a FiatAgri on Bally Spring, the neighbour had one, a 180/90, which I sometimes borrow when I need a bigger tractor, like for ploughing or something. But the biggest tractor I ever had of my own on Bally Spring was one of my Fords with 105 horsepower. And one of the ways I like to play the farming simulator game is I prefer not to be repairing tractors sort of during any of the seasons when I'm actually doing lots of work, like planting or mowing or anything like that. So I like to be able to get a tractor through to the beginning of winter, and then I do all my repairs in winter time. And I had the two Fords as my big tractors on that farm, and the International and the David Brown as my small tractors. And the two big tractors wouldn't quite make it through the winter, even like alternating, so I wasn't using the same one all the time. I'd never quite get through the winter before they were both desperately needing repairs. So I've now bought one of these little two-wheel drive Fiats on Bally Spring as well. So I've actually got three big tractors. When I say big tractor, we are talking only 100 to 110 horses. Well, the reason for the two different lengths of grass here, by the way, is because the change I'm about to show you, I took out the big barn with the self-stacking that was here, and I've put in this much smaller barn, so I like this much smaller one better. Now, I had to re-flatten the land and everything, and when I had to do that, of course, it meant I had to replant the grass. So this grass is growing at a different speed. This grass here will catch up, and then they'll all be the same. So like winter time when the grass dies off, it'll all die off at the same time, it'll all grow back at the same speed. But just because I had to put this grass on again after I redid my barn, it's just a slightly different place right now. Now this barn, we'll go around the outside of it first. So it's very much open up the top to get a lot of air in. Now I made this barn, I couldn't find a barn that I liked. It was a nice small barn, and I wanted a small hay barn. So how I've made this one, oh, I've actually got to touch up the grass a little near just slightly. So I might do that here, so bear with me for one moment, just touch up that grass a wee bit. Will I remember? Landscaping, plants, grass. And here you'll be able to see what I mean about when you stick the new grass in. So it always starts off at the same level here, which is this level right here. but this grass, it will actually die off in the winter and it will grow again and things like that. It's just that it always starts at that growth level there when you first stick it on there, which is why this is a different level for the other grass. So anyway, this barn, I've made this barn out of that barn I just showed you a minute ago that I've had on there for ages. It's two of those stuck peak of the roof to peak of the roof like that. You can see the two there, because you can see the two pillars there, with a silo, what do you call it, a silage silo thing for the sides of it. So a silage silo with two barns over the top. Now this barn, because it's open at the front again to get more air into it, but because this is in a cow paddock, this one, I've put these little bits of fences and this gate around it, so that when it's full of bales and things, the cows can't get in to rip the plastic off the bales and chew the bales up or anything. So that's why the fence is here and the gates. Now, if you were going to make a barn like this yourself, out of two of these small sheds and a silo like that, you will need to have a very small tractor, because with the way they've done the gates and with the poles down the centre there, you cannot have a big tractor. You just can't get in and out of here very well. Now all this barn, it's not self-stacking like the last one was, so all these bales have been stacked by hand using a tractor with forks on the front. I don't really mind doing that at all, so that's not a problem. But so yes, the barn that I had here was, and I'll just go into the shop for a second and I will show you. No, I had the right menu there. Go construction, I think it's at the sheds from memory. Where are we? No, it might go into silos perhaps or something. So I will find it. Oh, let's have a look. It wasn't in production, I don't think, was it? Decoration. Others. Don't think we're under others. No, you go to see what else is there. I'm sure it wasn't considered a factory. No, it must be under. It's not a selling point, I'm sure of that. Yeah, it must be under buildings then. There's containers, maybe it's under there. We can check. No. It's got an extension. So I can never remember where to find. Oh, this is it here, right here. So this is the shed I did have here, and you can see how this one is much bigger than the one I've got now. It was just too big for the size of the farm I had, which is why I was never very happy with it, and why I ended up replacing it with this one that I've got now, which I've made myself, as I said, and it's just been made out of a so under the silos there, you've got the small square silo there, so it was made out of that, and then I put two of this shed here over it. And the shed, the roof's not actually quite flat, so you have to make sure you do it, the first one that way, then do a half turn to put the second one on there. So it takes a wee bit of practice to get that looking right and perfect and things, but I'm happy with how it's come out. I've now got a small hay barn in this paddock, which is what I wanted. And the way I've done this gate and fences around the front, because on my Arley farm I sometimes store silage bales outside and one of the paddocks has cows in it. And what I do when I do that is I stick the pigtail electric fences around the bales to stop so the cows can't get to the bales. But I didn't want to, I wanted something more permanent than pigtail electric fences at the front of the shed. And I remember seeing a hay barn once in the middle of a cow paddock that had this exact type of thing around it, a little fence with a gate, so that the cows couldn't get into the barn and get at the bales. So that's what I've done there. I'm really pleased with that. Arley farm will be staying with the bales being stored outside and the pigtail electric fences being put around them to keep the cows away from them. But yes, this farm's going to be a wee bit different from Arley farm in that sense. So this tractor and that barn were the two differences I really want to show you of this farm. And as I said, this tractor, so I've now got 4 farms in total, not 6, and this tractor appears on 3 of them now. So it's on this one, it's on Greenland's, because Greenland's farm I've got 2 Fiat tractors. I've got the it was a 11090, it's now a 7090, only 70 horsepower, and a 18090 as my big tractor. So this farm here has 2 tractors as well, this 2-wheel drive 11090 and the little Massey Ferguson, which I think from memory is about 60 horsepower. And Greenland's farm, which I've now got 5 tractors on that farm, so in terms of numbers of tractors, that's definitely my biggest farm, although it hasn't got the most cows of any of my farms. But Greenland's has 2 small tractors I use for baling, for moving bales about, which is a David Brown and a small International. Then 3 big tractors. I've got a 10 series Ford, a 40 series Ford, and I've now got a FiatAgri 11090, which again is a 2-wheel drive one, although I've done it slightly differently from the one on this farm. But yeah, so I'm so pleased to have found that tractor. And as I said, I actually found it by accident. I was watching an FS25 video and someone had that tractor. I thought, oh, I wish I had the 2-wheel drive version for my farm. I went looking and lo and behold I do have. Now the FS25 version is actually the 80 series tractor or the 90 series, so I've downloaded both. It's 2 different mods, one for the 80 series and one for the 90 series. And when I get to FS25 I'll probably run FiatAgri tractors on my farm mostly, unless there's also some nice Fords or a nice David Brown or something like that, I might run those as well. But the little FiatAgri 80 series and 90 series are probably going to be my main tractors on FS25. Unfortunately the 80 series one wasn't available on FS22, only the 90 series one was. Okay, thanks for joining me. I'll say goodbye now. See ya.